Welcome to another episode of Thinking into Results. My name is Jen Smith. I am a mindset coach and energy healer. And Jenny O'Laughlin is with me as well. She's the co owner of Thrive Hot Yoga and Thrive Mindset. So, good morning, everyone. Today, we were going to talk about something that we have coming up. Jenny and I are working on a book club for 2026, along with some of our other friends. And we are currently reading The Secret, which is a fantastic book. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And so we were going to talk a little bit more today about focusing on what we want and the importance of that. So good morning, Jenny. How are you?
Good morning, Jen. I'm great. It's been blizzarding where I am, but the snow looks beautiful.
It does look beautiful. I can see it out your windows there, snow coming
Mm-hmm.
down. So
Mm-hmm.
you're in Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Gotten a lot of
Yeah.
snow this year.
Yeah. So The Secret, what a fantastic book to read. We've been working on thinking into results, and it corresponds very well with all the work that we do and how our thoughts produce things and how we should be focusing on just the positive in life. So with that being said, is there anything that's coming up from you for you that you would like to share today about positive thinking and how that transforms our life and how things can really be led with flow and ease if we can just get our thinking process in that way, right?
Yeah, it's funny because after I did my morning meditation this morning, I was actually just thinking about how often my mind goes to problems that I need to solve. And I know that if my attention is focused on the level of the problem or a worry or stress, then I'm going to stay in that problem and stress consciousness. And I have to consciously remind myself every day to think about what do I want? And that doesn't mean that problems aren't there or don't exist. Of course, we all have things that we have to handle in normal everyday life. But as we're moving through our day, it's really important to stay focused on what is the goal? What is it that I want? And keep that in mind as I am, dealing with the situations of life, as opposed to just getting taken down by the everyday stressors or keeping my attention on the stressors. Because when my mind is focused on what I want, I can take care of those things and they don't feel like a stress, right? Because I know where I'm going. I have that target in mind. But I think
Mhm.
every day is almost like it's like an internal battle between our old stories, our old way of thinking, our old paradigms, and what we're starting to create for ourselves and the direction in which we're moving. And it really is dependent on where is the majority of the focus going. And for myself, I notice, and I think this is true for a lot of people, that when you're focused on what you want, it elevates your mood, it elevates your emotions, it gives you clarity, it gives you focus. But when you're focusing on what's not going right in your life, whatever the struggle is, the stress or the problem, it kind of takes the mood down, thoughts become negative, and then you can downward spiral, and then the vibration is lower, and then you're not attracting what you really want to call in or pull in. So yeah, it's funny that we're talking about this because I literally was just thinking about it outside of meditation, and it does take a conscious effort to internally say stop to the old stress thoughts and focus on, okay, this is where I'm headed and this is my goal and this is what I want to see.
Yeah. So just that conscious stop. Just stop. I mean,
Mhm.
you say
Stop.
that too, just like
Yes.
stop whenever that
Hmm.
comes in. We talk a lot about, um, people talk about the number 17, 17 seconds and manifestation and the powerful, you can keep your thoughts for 17 seconds on something that you want, then another idea will join it, and then another idea will join it. And then you start creating this big, beautiful dream, these big ideas of what you want.
Hmm.
But the other is true too, right? So if we're thinking about what we don't want and we have that 17 seconds to say stop and redirect our attention, because if
Mhm.
we stay in that 17 seconds, then a like thought will join that. And then it spirals the way that we don't want it to. So
Right.
it really is energy, and you can, and whenever, learning energy healing and learning how to feel that energy and manage the energy, you can feel that emotional wise within your body of
Yeah.
whenever you are thinking positive versus something that you don't want.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think a lot of times we are like living for the future. And one thing I've been sitting with a lot lately is how much, when I am focused on problems, how much it's ruining my present moment, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it's how do I want to live my life every day too? Like, do I want to let myself be taken down by all the stressors of life, or do I want to powerfully move through every single day, remembering that I'm a creator, like I am a child of God, or do I want to just like go through, I gotta go here and go there and do this and handle that, like I want to remember in every moment of my life who I really am and that I can live powerfully and that I can choose my thoughts.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think sometimes we
Yeah,
forget.
it's
Sometimes the thoughts are so deeply subconscious. Like we wake up in the morning and we think the same thought as we get out of bed every morning. And then we go through our morning and we do the same things. And then we think the same thoughts again. And we don't even realize sometimes that we're thinking, like the thinking process can be so subconscious and so just habitual and ingrained that I think this whole process of inner work and thinking into results and meditation and yoga and all the work I've done over the years has helped me to, at first, just bring to the surface the thoughts that I am thinking because I feel like they were just a part of who I was. And I didn't even realize that I was thinking stressful thoughts. It was just
Mhm.
like who I was. So it's like part of it is realizing, well, what am I thinking all day long? And do I want to take some of my mental energy and direct it toward what I want in a
Mhm.
powerful way of thinking and being? Or am I just going to like let my mind just think things that aren't productive or helpful in any way?
Mhm. I just it's fascinating how powerful we are as creators, and I've experienced this, I know you've experienced this because we have our masterminds every Monday.
Hmm.
And, knowing that without a shadow of a doubt how powerful we are, it really it really propels us to keep going, to really the hardest work, and our mentor, Bob told us this, the hardest thing you ever have to do is think. The deep
Yeah,
thinking, not
the deep
not the
thinking.
chitter chatter, mental
Right.
thinking, do this, do that. There was one thing in The Secret which I really liked, and I've implemented it. So, getting out of bed in the morning, usually I just quiet my mind and just lay there for a little bit, no thoughts, practicing no thoughts, right? But getting out of bed, one of the things was, the author said that she learned this from one of the teachers in The Secret, is as she gets out, she puts her left foot down and says, "Thank you," puts her right foot down and says, "Thank you." And as she's getting ready for the day, just all through the house, that's all she's thinking about is, "Thank you, thank you,
Hmm.
thank you." And it is a phenomenal technique because you can feel the energy, that warm energy coming in. You're just setting up your vibration for the day.
Hmm.
So, what I do is say, "Thank you, thank you. Thank you for another day of creation. Thank you for another day to allow me to create."
Yeah.
And, there's all sorts of habits that people can implement, things that I have implemented that really just sets your day up in that great vibration. There's really easy techniques, there's other techniques, but that is one that anybody could do. Just thank you, being present in the
Hmm.
moment and, feeling that energy rise is it feels phenomenal.
And the power of gratitude is just phenomenal. Like there's so much to be grateful for that you have 2 feet to walk on.
Mhm,
I know people who cannot walk who would give anything to be able to walk. And,
mhm,
you know, putting 2 feet on the ground really is something to be grateful for. Having a warm house in the cold winter and, like food to eat for breakfast. And we have so many blessings in our lives. I think I was just listening to a podcast where someone was talking about like 100 years ago, the majority of people on this planet had $2 per day to spend. That was it. And that's adjusted for inflation. And now, like, the majority of the population has so much more money to spend. Like, our lives are so much better than they were 100 years ago, but we take for granted that we have heating and plumbing and food and just all the things in our life. It's just such great blessings. And every day we're here, we can create, like you said. And if there's something that we're not happy with in our lives, we can start to shift our attention to something else. And then as we shift our attention to that, then we can start taking actions in that direction. So we're never stuck. We have so
Mhm.
much possibility. And I think when you start with gratitude and you can see what you already have, it just launches you into creating even more.
Oh, yeah. Gratitude and appreciation, I would say, are very, very powerful for me to
Yeah.
use. The gratitude of, just the all of the things you just named, um, but gratitude exercise daily, super important for that good creation.
Yeah. And just for enjoying your day as it is, as well.
Mhm,
Like just in that being in the present moment and enjoying life. Like, wow, look at all of this around me. Look what my
mhm.
body can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I do that as well, creating your day, beginning the day off with what is it that your day is gonna look like? What are you creating out there?
Yeah.
And, just enjoying the simple things in life and being present with wherever you go because we're creating our reality, and I just find it fascinating, like, the things that happen when you're in the present moment and the law of attraction, right? So whatever signal you're putting out into the world is what you're attracting back. And then
Hmm.
just seeing how that develops throughout the day because you'll meet the right people, you'll
Hmm.
find the right things that, that aligns with what you want. It's like, Bob used to say, it's like unadulterated magic, and that is exactly how it feels, and I love that.
Yeah, it's great. I had a great experience with my daughter this week. We've been looking for a new house, and we need a little bit more space. And so my daughter decided that she was going to draw her ideal bedroom in the new house. So she had like a little desk and she had a bed, and then she had posters on the wall of the K-pop Demon Hunters movie. And the kids had a snow day yesterday, and I had to take them on a long drive because my daughter had a doctor appointment about an hour away. And I said, okay, guys, let's go to Barnes and Noble, and you can each get like one activity book since it's a snow day. And right there in the kids section, my daughter found a book of K-pop Demon Hunter posters
I love
that
it.
she
I
wants
love
up
it.
in
That's
her ideal bedroom. And she just had drawn it out. And I'm like, okay, well, there you go. You just drew out your ideal bedroom with these posters in it. And now you have the posters in your hand.
and I love that because that's how creation works. And that's the things that appear to us, the things that we're focusing on and wanting.
Mhm.
We can we can create it that easy. So
And I
creating
think,
a poster, but you can create big things just as easily.
yes. But you know what's easier about a poster is that there's not too much attachment to it. I think when we're
Mhm.
really in that state of wanting, it almost creates a separation between the thing and yourself. But like, if you can be in a state of non attachment, like, I have my poster, I expect my posters, and then you
Mhm.
just let it go. You can watch things drop in just so easily. But sometimes when there's a lot of emotional involvement and there's some level of stress about getting the thing you want, it makes it a little bit harder to have it show up.
That is so true. And that's still something that I'm practicing. It's
Me
something that
too.
I'm really paying attention to, because I have noticed in the past whenever I really wanted something, and it's something good, like for a group situation, or, I wanted it to be a certain way and just
Mhm.
wanted it so badly because it's such goodness,
Yeah,
and being so attached to how I want it to look definitely creates a resistance instead of allowing
exactly.
it to come in. And there's
Yes,
been times where it'd be like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna move on to the next thing." And then everything comes in.
of course. Isn't that how it is? It's like the
Yes.
want creates a space between you and a thing. I've been reading The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, and he talks about the law of assumption, which is
Mhm.
assuming the wish fulfilled. So, whatever it is that you desire, you assume it's here now. And the wanting, the wishing, the hoping pushes it away because it's not living that law of assumption. So sometimes it's easier to live in a space where you just assume something very simple, the law of assumption, assuming that wish fulfilled. But sometimes it can get a little trickier with the bigger things that are more emotionalized for us because there's other complicated emotions that are kind of influencing the law of assumption.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine tuning, right? Fine tuning all of these things,
Tuning.
becoming aware of what our own
Hmm.
patterns are, and be
Yeah.
able to fine tune it, um, to live a life full of joy and ease.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. One of the things I was talking about, since we're here in January 26, a lot of people are setting up what is it that they want in 26.
Yep.
And I think it's a great exercise, and I encourage everyone to do it. I do it myself because I want to stay focused on the goodness of
Yeah.
life and the goodness of what I want, but yet not have that attachment to it as well, right? Just like, this
Yeah.
is what I want, and these are the things that I'm working towards, or what fills me with joy, that how I'm gonna live my life. And, when I lost my train of thought, why I was going with this 26 and,
Well, 2026, well, I think it's, a lot of people don't really know what they want. We just did this, and I know you did it too. We called it a mindset reset. It was a 30-day
Mhm.
challenge about achieving a goal. Do you know what the hardest part of it was for most people? Finding a goal. Most people,
Yeah,
and that's what's hard about life. Like, if you don't know what you want, you're not going to get it, probably. And so it takes a moment to just have some quiet time and think about, well, what do I want? Like, what do I want to create? What direction do I want to move in my life, whether it's professionally or in relationships or any area of life? It's like,
mhm,
what do I want? What do I want? What do I want to create? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And when you have some time and space away from your day to day life and you can put it on paper, you think about it and then you put it on paper, then you can start to take actions to move in that direction. But if you're not clear about the direction in which you're moving, if you don't know what your goal is or what you'd like to have in your life, then it's just going to be more of the same. It's going to be
yeah,
the same patterns, the same habits, the same beliefs, the same everything. Life just becomes repetitive after a certain age. We think very few new thoughts
mhm.
unless we experience something that kind of jolts us out of it.
Yeah, so what you're describing there is, what is it that we want? What is my joy? And that was what I was trying to get to earlier, and you reminded me, is that was another thing that they talk about in The Secret, because there's different ways that, different methodologies that they give for people, and I
Mhm.
thought that was a really good one. They say, if you don't know what that is that you wanna do, just keep asking yourself, what is my joy? What is
Mhm.
my joy?
Mhm.
And, the answer will start revealing itself to you. Sometimes through thoughts you have, sometimes the outside world will show you, what that is. But stressors and worries and doubts, that keeps you on a lower frequency, and you cannot create from that level. Well, you are creating, but not what you want. So that's why you wanna lift up into this lighter, this joyful. So
Mhm.
I had a teacher once that said, "If what you're doing doesn't bring you joy, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? So just some tidbits of information there.
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes, I know the seeker got some criticism that it's just about positive thinking and that, like, a lot of people are in truly stressful situations or dealing with something that's overwhelming or like an illness or like a family member that's struggling or, some kind of financial situation that's really difficult. So, like, I just want to be clear, it's not about like being happy all the time when there's serious things happening in your life, but it's about choosing the thoughts that you want to think and a way through it. Like, if you're struggling with something, what's the end result that you really want for that situation? And can you hold that in your mind? Can you let that be dominant above the worry and the stress? And
Mhm. Moving through these things gracefully, right?
yeah,
Being able to move through life
power.
gracefully when things come up that you need to take care of, move through them gracefully. I I mean, that's the work we teach, and, I think that's an important part to bring out too, is to, it's not just being happy and joyful all the time. That, of course, is where you want to be, but as life presents some things
Yeah.
to us, move through them gracefully,
Mhm.
still with that mindset of, you know, positivity, but being able to move through it gracefully.
Yeah. And where's the blessing? Where's the peace? Where's the power? Like, there are things that each of us has to face in life that can be very difficult. And yet, is there a way to move through those times too, where you feel empowered, knowing that grief is a part of life sometimes and stress, can be a part of life and worries, but like, who am I as I move through this? And um, again, keeping the mind on the outcome of the highest, like what can be the highest in this situation.
Mhm. Yeah. I think every experience I know every experience that we have, there's always a gift in there somewhere. And it's much easier after we go through some circumstances to look back and say, "Ah, that's why that happened," or,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's what I gained from that experience."
Yes, it's so true. I actually had that just recently. My daughter was having a foot issue. She had a collapsed metatarsal, and took her to a new doctor. A new doctor recommended this physical therapist who does a lot of physical manipulations, and he kind of helped my daughter. She had to just go through a different process to get her foot back in place. But this physical therapist is so good. We have sent multiple people to him because he
Mhm.
really gets into the joints and loosens them up. So now we know like 3 or 4 people who have had their lives drastically improved. And we wouldn't have known about him if my daughter didn't have this foot issue, which was quite stressful when it came up. Like, oh my God, what are we going to
Mhm.
do about this like foot issue? And I was just telling my husband, gosh, like if Rose didn't have that issue, we wouldn't have known about this guy who has helped multiple people in our lives.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's interesting how, I think Napoleon Hill said, every adversity contains within it the seed of an equivalent benefit if you're willing to look for it. So that's the
Yeah.
key. If you're not willing to look for what that equivalent benefit might be, you
Mhm.
probably won't find it and won't see life that way. But if you can look for it, I think you will find that that adversity did give you something,
Mhm. Yeah.
some internal, some characteristic, some trait, some strength, some power, some gift somewhere if you're willing to look for it. And I know Bob Proctor said too, he loved to work with companies and people who had big problems, not people and companies that had little problems, because he knew big problems have big solutions and the transformation is huge.
Big
So I think that point
opportunities, yeah.
yeah, big opportunities.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So I think as a reminder is just whenever these situations come up, like move through them with grace, or you can be chaotic in your mind. And what's going to be better for you, right? I think moving through with grace, right? Because you know that when you look back, you'll be able to find there's always a silver lining in things, right? There's always something there for us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's like if it's also, can you move through it with power, feeling like you have a choice,
Mhm.
feeling like you can choose for yourself the thoughts you're going to think and the way you're going to move through it, um, that you don't have to be taken down by it either.
Yeah, that's bringing up another situation that occurred over the last week or so for me, and it was a decision that my son was, making, and, I relate this back to some of the decisions that I've had to make just about, whether you wanna participate in a certain group or a certain event or whatever, and say that you're making a decision that, "Oh, maybe this isn't the right space for me. Um, maybe I'm not gaining from it what I need to." And you kinda get those intuition moments knowing that you have to do something different here.
Mhm.
And so, one of the things that I'm learning, which I know, but really implementing to the to a higher degree, is whenever you make those decisions, you have to stop the old story. You have to stop the old story. So, you don't have to explain to people why you're doing what you're doing, why you made the decision you did. But sometimes people want to know and they bring up and they come back to you and they want to know like what happened, like the gossipy part of it, or why did you decide to do this? And the sooner you can end the old story, the more that you can keep moving on the frequency of where you're going. So
Mhm.
I think that's, don't be complaining about anything. Just if somebody contacts you, just say, "Thanks for thinking of me. Everything's good." And just move on with your new story, your new decision. Because if you keep that alive, the old story, it just keeps moving and moving and moving. So um, that's been fascinating to see too. In the old story, move on with the new.
Mhm. Yep. It's like every day is a new possibility of a new person that we can be. You can leave
Yeah.
parts of yourself, behind, because that's what it requires sometimes. Like a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of making decisions.
Mhm.
Sometimes the hardest part about it is you're saying goodbye to your old self and what's known and what's comfortable, and you're stepping into a new version. And
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's so exciting too when you know the possibilities, right?
it's exciting, yeah, but it can bring up a lot of emotions and,
Mhm.
like a sense of grief sometimes, a
Sure.
sense of mourning, of letting go of what was to move
Mhm.
into what's here now.
Right, right. Well, we are almost 30 minutes in already.
Oh my gosh,
I
okay.
know it just
So
flies
much
by.
more to say, but we'll have to save it for another day, I guess.
Yeah, we'll save it for another day. Is there any other thing that you would like to add before we go for today?
I think just for anyone who's listening to this, that you're so powerful. You're so powerful. We forget what powerhouses each one of us is. Um, I just mentioned that I'm reading The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, and I've been reading it over and over every night. Not the whole book every night, but parts of the book. And he talks about how God or consciousness is totality. It's indivisible. It can't be divided. And that means each one of us, we're living in totality, in wholeness. It's just this separation that you're you and I'm me, and this is a scarf and this is a shirt, and like it's just an illusion. It's an illusion. We are all inherently children of God, and we've been endowed with the gift of creation because we are
Mhm.
part of creation. We're here. It's everything. It's in us. It's outside of us. It's around us. It's indivisible. And as we start to live more from an empowered state of mind and of being, remembering our divine heritage and birthright, we start to see that anything is possible. And that's what I believe was intended for this life, because when there's only pure consciousness, there is nothing, there's no experience of anything. And as I get into this work deeper and deeper and read more, it's so profound. It's like the creator created himself, herself, itself, whatever, in a multitude of expressions to experience himself, herself, itself, however we want to describe it, because it's so beyond description. And that's us, and that's life, and that's everything, and we're part of it. And we shouldn't forget that. Like, we're not alone and we're not separate, and we come from divinity, and we're here to express that and play with it and know it and embody it. And
Yes.
it's just overwhelming and awe-inspiring, just sitting with that
To
knowledge. So,
remember our divine nature.
yeah.
We have to remember, um, our divine nature, and we can express that through however we want. We can express that to what brings us the most joy, whether it be through service work or
Mhm.
something else. But that's the expression. We're all unique in that way,
Mhm.
and we have the power to create a beautiful, abundant life, and
Mhm.
that abundance incorporates everything, everything from health to wealth, and this abundance it's financial, it's health-wise, it's spiritual-wise, it's everything, and it's our birthright, and each and every one of us can do that. Our thoughts are so powerful. Our thoughts create what's going on in the inside creates our outer world. And my wish for everyone is to really bring this in and to know it and to remember it and live a beautiful life.
One beautiful day after another.
One beautiful day after another. Well, thanks, Jenny. It was a joy talking with you this morning. And until next time, I hope everyone has a wonderful time creating, manifesting magic. See ya.
Love it.
Thanks.